Assalamu alaikum, Sayyid Rais.
أهلا وسهلا.
Ahlan wa sahlan. And Sharafna Saidi.
شكرا.
As you know, Mr. President, I spent over 37 years in the US Army, and I was a soldier, not a diplomat. So I hope you'll forgive me if I speak with the directness of the old soldier that I am as I get the first question out of the way. Because the fact is that we were on different sides when I was commanding the surge in Iraq. You were, of course, detained by US forces for some 5 years, including, again, when I was the 4-star there. And here you are now as the president of Syria, which your forces liberated from the murderous Bashar al-Assad regime to participate in your first UN General Assembly as the president of your country. Earlier this year, you met the President of the United States among many other world leaders. Please help us understand how you got from Al-Qaeda in Iraq 20 years ago to where you are today, Syria's head of state on stage in New York City.
أهلا وسهلا.
I welcome you. It is good that at a time we were in the combat and then we now moved to the discourse. We moved from war to discourse. Yes, sir. Someone who went through war is one who knows most the importance of peace. First, the past has its rules when it comes down to traditions and traditions and the customs of that phase. When we want to when we want to judge it, we have to judge it based on these phases. We cannot judge the past based on the rules of today, and we cannot judge today based on the rules of the past. Today, now, we have a new phase that's special. The region, there was an occupation of Iraq. There has been a lot of conflicts in the area. In Palestine, Syria was facing a lot of challenges and was threatened. And the phase at that time and the awareness, all these factors were contributing to the choices of that phase. What's important, the intent was clear when it comes down to protecting and defending people and defending human rights, the women, the children, from all the injustice that was taking place in the region. Perhaps there were some mistakes. Sometimes in a person's journey, there are some mistakes, but what's important is to focus on defending people from the threats that they face, especially from the instability that could take place in any region. Our commitment to that line is what brought us here today to the place we're in, sitting here among allies and friends.
Well, again, as a former commander of forces in 2 different wars, in fact, I'm fascinated by your skill in putting together a force, and I assume recruiting, training, equipping, conducting leader development courses and so forth, to build a force that could rapidly take Aleppo, and then of course Hama is open, Homs, and the road to Damascus is clear, and you topple a regime that had been in control of your country for 50 years. How did you do this? And again, how did you organize, train, equip this force, and then lead it to this stunning outcome?
First of all, you as a military leader, you know there are different military rules. First, the balance of power does not depend on the tools or whatever you have at your disposal. There are many countries where there is a conflict, and small groups can overthrow a president or a ruler. So what a leader needs is optimism, a belief, a deep belief that you are defending a noble cause, you're protecting a country, you're defending people who were massacred, who were subjected to bombing campaigns, children who were killed, a lot of bombing, a lot of abductions, a lot of sexual violence. There is about a million, there are about a million people who were killed. So actually what we were defending was a noble case, a case that deserved to be supported. Regarding the military level, of course, we were confronting a large country like Russia, who had military aviation who were much more equipped than us, and there were different factions like Hezbollah on the ground, and all these enemy factions were confronted thanks to our will by choosing the right time, the right place to enter the country, by taking key positions, tactical and strategical action night and day, and the military forces supported by civilians. We had institutions like schools and different institutions were providing us with the support and help, like in Idlib. These institutions were trained by the military, and therefore we have accumulated experience, and we were ready at one point to reach Damascus in a very short time and with the least cost possible.
Well, your skills, again, in organizing and then leading that force are hugely impressive. But despite all that you have achieved as a military leader, and it is extraordinary, and now as a statesman, there are understandably some who are skeptical. What do you say to reassure those who wonder if you will follow through on your commitment to unify Syria and to ensure not just majority rule, but also minority rights, a commitment that is particularly important given the many ethnic, sectarian, tribal, and other elements in your country?
When I converse with a military commander, I have to stick to military rules. When you know in war, it is difficult for one to completely avoid civilians when it comes down to military operations. At times there are casualties and losses. But during the 11 days, the fight for liberation, there has been mercy and kindness to people. There has been a lot of forgiveness, and therefore it was less costly. Also, the conduct of the people during hot conflict and hot fighting, there was a care to defend and protect the people, and at the same time, there was a commitment to liberating military spots from the forces that they face. And we abide to the same conduct when it comes down to governing. And Syria, in a short period of time, they were talking about, we had somebody here speaking about his experience and being deprived from Syria over 60 years. The former regime worked on dividing the people, and there was a lot of ethnic and sectarian, and Syria was one of the areas with a lot of focus when it comes down to sectarianism. There has been a lot of violations, and it worked on scaring the people in order to oppress them. But we cannot solve all the problems right away at once, but gradually we reach. Also, after the collapse of the former regime, the society has started to come together around the current presidency, and then at times, however, there was a bit of sectarianism that's reminiscent from the old regime. But the sound mind would help us to face the problems and deal with each problem separately. specifically, one of the priorities for this phase is the stability and the security in Syria, and through the unification of the Syrian people and the Syrian land and limiting weapons, we are going to enhance the security, and there's a good connection with the economic development, between economic development and security stability.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to Mirror Now.